Hello, this is Sakari, aka Indigenous. It's time to record some personal videos. I want to share some of my story and the motivation that drives me to create sacred geometry software. And to be honest, I've been very afraid to talk about these things honestly, because there's a lot of strange things that have happened to me in my path that have led me to experience the power of sacred geometry and that it can have on your thinking and your consciousness. And to be honest, it has been really difficult in the past to see that the path, and to be honest and to be really clear about that which I want to create. So first, this is kind of like an introduction to what led me to discover sacred geometry. Originally, this happened in maybe in the year 2008 when I had trouble sleeping, and I was at this working as a system administrator, doing some Linux machine network operations for this big mobile company, actually Digital Chocolate here in Finland. You might know that company also, but anyway, during that period of time, I had really trouble sleeping, and I was really near to a burnout, and yeah, this still, I see this is a bit difficult to say out loud, but I started to see these visions when I was falling asleep, like in the state where you are awake and asleep, and in the state between being awake and sleep. I would start to see these geometric shapes like hovering over me, like these clouds of geometry that would somehow become alive in my vision. And at first I was like, what is happening? I had no idea what is happening here. And but then these downloads, this information continued to come from somewhere. And many times I would see like these clouds of geometry. They were moving, rotating, morphing into different things, different shapes, different information actually. And this information somehow downloaded something into my consciousness, into my brain, into my body actually. It was not something I could be rational about, but it was something that was coming into me. And these information downloads, this geometry downloads continued for about 3 months. And also during that period of time, I went through this kind of personal transformation of facing my inner demons and facing the outer demons also. Yeah, there are inner demons, external demons. In the end, they are all the same, but it makes it's good to define interfaces. Like, I am a separate person than you, but in the end we are the same in the way. We come from the same particles in the cosmos, we come from the same source, but in the end we are still separate for a reason. There's a reason. So anyway, I started experiencing these demons tormenting me while trying to get sleep, like visions of death and cruelty and all kinds of very violent visions. First, I tried to fight these visions, like with my sword and my sort of astral fighting skills, astral kung fu to speak, different weapons and so on. But as I fought these demons, these beings, they just multiplied. They just got power out of that. They just like they kind of like somehow I was playing their game and not my own game. Then I realized during this period that the only way to really handle this is love and light. So I started projecting love and light to these beings who were tormenting me. And okay, suddenly within a week or two, I was left alone. I went through an initiation, so to speak. And this was in maybe 2008. And then I tried asking around online in Finnish forums, like, has anybody experienced something like that? I couldn't find any information. I didn't even know what sacred geometry was back then. I was like an engineer, I was a system administrator, I was very rational still. But few years passed, and in 2011 I think I got really interested in numbers. Because I'm a deep learner, deep experiencer, I want to see deep. I want to understand what is behind our reality, what is behind the veil, you know, what is behind this what we call reality. I've always wanted to understand how things, computers, clocks and so on work. But this time I wanted to understand how do numbers work. Because I use numbers every day at my work as an engineer, as a programmer, but I still have no idea, for example, why is the number 3? Why is it like a 3? Why is the 5? Why does it represent 5 things? So I started visualizing these shapes. I'm a visual thinker. So I started drawing with a pen and paper, just drawing polygonal formation, trying to see like a connection between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is there a connection between the shape of the 1? And when you combine 2 ones, it becomes a 2. Is there a connection between how these 2 ones become 2? And I started to draw that with simple polygonal shapes. Like 3 points is a triangle, 4 points is a square, 5 points is a pentagon, 6 points is a hexagon, and so on. But I realized, okay, drawing this by hand or using some software or like Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop, it was just too much work. I required this kind of recursion. I wanted to recurse the same over and over to see the difference between what would happen if I changed the parameter from 1 to 3, and if I would use existing software, I would have to redo the whole scene. So then I decided, okay, I'm gonna start programming this. I'm gonna just do a simple program for creating like simple geometric shapes. And quickly I started using this processing GS library, which you can very easily do some graphics programming. And I had this simple program for creating simple polygonal formations. And from this on, quickly the software developed, and I noticed it was very fun to play around with this software. There was something very, very interesting it did to my thinking when I created these shapes interactively in my browser. And I started noticing, okay, this is fun. This gives me like feedback in my brain. This gives me like a feeling of creating something from emptiness and discovering something new out of nothingness. Like if I would create a triangle and had with a fractal recursion, that triangle would copy itself around itself, and from those new triangles, their interference, my brain would see new patterns, find new patterns, and this would reward my thinking somehow. I got like a feeling of feeling good when I would discover new shapes out of interference of old patterns. And this really pushed me forward to continue developing this software. And it was I think in summer 2011, I think, or 2010. Anyway, I was then still working at Barcelona, and one night I was a sysadmin living for a month in Barcelona, Spain, and one night there I was just working on this one geometry piece the whole night. And I think I worked on the piece for around maybe 6 hours. I started somewhere around 10 and finished in 4 o'clock or something, just doing. I had nothing to do, nowhere to go. And this shape was based around this number 6, or actually 666, which is a very sacred holy number. Don't believe what people talk about 666. It's sacred. Anyway, after I started working on this piece, my whole focus was like focused on one singular point in my consciousness. My field of vision was like going to like this tunnel vision, and I could see the lights around me like shimmering, like. I was like, what the fuck is happening here? Like, what the? I was completely sober, no funny thing there, and I was like, what the hell is happening here? And I was like very meditative state. And after that, when I went to sleep, I saw this most lucid dream I've ever seen in my life. Like, it started from this seeing like molecules bonding into each other, very little molecules. I could see in my dream, my whole vision was filled with these molecules. I was these molecules, and they would start building, combining to more different complex shapes, starting from something very simple, repeating a simple pattern, copying it over in a fractal way, so that they made this sound like coming together. I could feel the pressure of the molecules, and they were combined, forming into different shapes. I can remember from the simple basic structures, they would evolve into like claws of some bird, and then the whole bird, and this bird would evolve. The bird would combine with many birds, and the bird would evolve into this actually a combat helicopter, like this very big combat helicopter, and then these hundreds and hundreds of combat helicopters with these dragon wings would combine, and they would form up this big dragon with huge claws and everything, and these dragons would come together and form this. In the end, this whole thing formed this like huge giant brain walking over a city and scanning it like in this futuristic scene, a brain on legs. Anyway, it was like really alien, really ET stuff, really right out of this world. And after that dream, I somehow understood that everything in this world is fractal. Everything is simple. It's not complex. People, scientists and science and school, and they wanted you to think that things are complex. You have to learn many things to understand. No, there are very simple rules in the structure of our universe. Very simple basic rules that when you repeat those rules over and over for more complex ideas, more complex life forms, more complex universes, more, and actually they're simple when you look at the big picture. The same thing, it's macro, micro, it repeats itself. And anyway, yeah, this dream really reminded me, I want people to feel this what I felt. I want to share this feeling. I want people to also see the power of this, creating this kind of geometry you can have. And I worked very hard I set a date, 11/11/2011, a binary code to set up good date for the seeding of this idea, of this form, of this geometry software, which I then turned geoconnect.net. And I worked very hard to put it online, 11/11/11, and quickly I would get, after putting it online, sharing it with people, free to use in the browser, people would start sending me feedback. Hey man, I'm feeling something very meditative while I'm using the software. I went outside and I could see shapes coming out of the river, and somebody told me he learned to play the guitar better after using 3 months of Geogone, like really strange stuff that I don't understand how it works even yet. And I'm a quest to understand how this geometry works, what it does to a brain, what it does to a consciousness, what happens when we connect to this primal energy that I feel is the building blocks of our universe, and ourselves also. We come from the universe. We are not separate. We come from the nature around us. It's fractal. We are the nature. The nature is us expressing itself to our human bodies, and we inhabit these bodies from some higher aspect. And by connecting to sacred geometry, we allow ourselves to inspect, to look from different angles at this structure of our universe. And this feedback, it gave me power to continue to work, and I could see it really worked. So that's 5 years from now. It's soon, actually, exactly 5 years. And this has been a crazy path. I'm going to tell more about that in the upcoming videos. But now I just want to say that my mission is here to bring people direct experience of the structure of our universe, to let them see inside themselves and the universe they inhabit, to let them experience what is the language of creation, what is the language of manifestation, what is the language of our third dimensional reality, actually. So on that path I will continue, and we will continue to bring you the best software to explore this language of our universe. And that's the motivation, to let people experience what I have experienced and get direct experience. I can talk about this all day long, you won't see it until you feel it yourself. So that's what I want to achieve. That's my primary motivation, is to bring knowledge. So thank you, and I hope as many as people who feel the call to see the truth and not just play this silly game of masks and money and fame. It's very simple. It's very animalistic. I have no interest in that. Of course, I'm an animal, I'm a human, but I want to achieve something greater. I want to be something bigger. I want people to see something greater, to let them awake from this place, this matrix, this, and I believe it's possible. But we are not alone. We are not alone. We need help, and I need help. So if you feel the call, if you see this video and you feel the call to the same mission, please let me know. Send me a message. I'll be happy to read and happy to listen and happy to answer. And this is Sakari, aka Indigenous, signing off now. Bong shaga bong.